Welcome to the Ferment podcast, conversations about worship and transformation. Today's guest is Kelly Diaria, worship leader at the Cape Vineyard in Cape Coral, Florida.
All right, what up, everybody? It's the Ferment podcast, and I'm Adam. And today, my very special guest is Kelly Diaria from the Cape Coral section of Florida. What up, Kelly?
Hey, how's it going, Adam?
It is good with me, but that's why we're talking. I want to know how it is with you. In fact, that's where I want to start. Kelly, how are you? Like, just you as a person. We know there's been hurricanes in South Florida. How are you?
I'm actually doing really good. It's been a wild couple weeks, and every day is different, but I am personally doing really well. My family's doing good, and no complaints here. We got minimal damage at my house, got a car that's gone, an AC unit, and some roof damage, but in the grand scheme, that's not much. So
yeah, I know. Everything's relative, right? Like if I were to lose my car, my roof damage, and an AC unit in a week, I'd be pretty bummed. But
yeah,
from what I saw on the news, you all had neighbors that lost a lot more, or people in your community, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad to hear that you're well, and I'm glad to see that you're at the church today. We're Zooming so I can see where you're at. I guess secondly, before we get into just talking about some of the stuff that's been going on, can you just tell everybody about yourself a little bit? Like, what do you do at the church, and fill us in on your family and what your life is like?
Yeah, sure. I'm the worship leader here at the Cape Vineyard and have been probably for about 5 years now. My family is, my husband and I own a pool and lawn care business, so he's super busy right now. I have 3 boys, 23, 18, and 14. And right now they are out of school. School will not be back on for at least another week or two. So they're serving and getting busy at work. And then my parents are the pastors here, Jamie and Kim Stilson.
Yeah,
they've been the pastors here at the Cape Vineyard for total about 45 years. Some of it was on Sanibel Island, and then about 25 years here at the Cape. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for the update there. But talk to me a little bit about the area, because I have been to your church, but sometimes Florida geography gets a little fuzzy for me. So tell me, where does Cape Coral sit in relation to Fort Myers? Because I know Fort Myers really got rocked. I saw those images like on the news and stuff. So
yeah.
Talk to me about that.
So literally Cape Coral and Fort Myers is one less than a mile bridge away. Okay. We're right over the bridge. So like we have always said, oh, we're going to go into town because Fort Myers is where the malls are and used to be better restaurants. We got a lot now too, but so it's just right over the bridge. We're actually, the 3 hardest hit areas are Pine Island, Fort Myers Beach, and Sanibel Captiva area. And our church is approximately 10 to 12 miles from each of those areas. We're very in the center of it all.
Yeah, so that means that basically everybody who comes to your church has some kind of a hurricane story.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. And actually, a lot of the members in our church are from some of these areas.
Right.
Directly. Even my parents live on Pine Island themselves. So,
wow. Okay. So just talk to us about the damage and everything that's happened. Like what all happened?
Yeah, I don't think anybody was prepared that it was going to be as strong as it ended up being. We thought it was going to be maybe like a 3, and Floridians are pretty good at riding out hurricanes. And we actually thought it would be a little north of us. And then it ended up being here. Actually, some of the churches in Tampa who we're not even affiliated with have called and been like, how can we help? This was supposed to be us, and they're feeling really, grateful there that they did not get the direct hit that we did. So I don't want to get emotional.
Yeah, it's okay.
Some of the damage is just devastating, So, and I have been able to get on the islands. You can't get there right now to even see the actual in-person damage. I'm just hearing every picture, there's a person and a story behind the pictures you see. So we're getting some of those stories from people that have gotten off and come, for help. And we're hearing story every day. We hear new stories of, people and their what they went through during the storm, and, women caught under refrigerators with concussions, and,
Yeah.
that have lost people and drowning. It's been a lot.
Yeah. So the storm ended up being like a category 5, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what's the difference between a 3 and a 5? Because when you first started answering this, you kind of said Floridians.
Yeah.
What I was hearing was category 3, we just kind of stay home.
Right. Totally. Wind speed is the biggest factor in the amount of damage that it can do, right? Our homes are built to a certain code, and, pretty much after Charlie, anything that's a newer build has been made to withstand a pretty good strength down here.
Yeah.
What we were not prepared for, and I think this is the biggest thing that's caused so much damage, is the storm surge. Like, right, they talk about it all the time. Oh, storm surge. And we've never in the history of all of the hurricanes had the surge that we had. And the saltwater, the ocean really just rushes in. And on Fort Myers Beach, it was up to, I think, 18 feet of a storm surge. It's and everything the saltwater hits is destroyed. You can't just your cars and your houses. You got to be gutted, and it's just a lot of damage.
So what you're saying is there's a difference even between the fresh water and the salt water. Like once the salt water touches something, it's kind of like instantly done.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah, that's something I just wouldn't know here in Kentucky.
Right.
We have floods and stuff, but it's just different, right?
Yeah.
Well, talk to me a little bit about what your church is doing, because I know that you guys you're outreach people anyway. I mean, that's just kind of what you do. Everybody that I've ever met from your church is a look outward person, serve the city. And I know that this is probably drawing your church in as well. So just tell us all about that.
Yeah, totally. We already have a dinner church outreach that we do. We serve dinners every week for hundreds of people. We do a lot of community outreach, giving food and groceries, in neighborhoods. And that's already what we've been doing well before the hurricane. We actually already have had in our thoughts of long-term goal was to get a food truck and be able to go into some of the poorer communities and just be a light and serve food. Well, yesterday, a couple of us went over to the other coast to Miami, and we purchased a food truck, because part of the problem here is we are serving food, hot meals. We're serving at least 300 a day, and as well as giving out supplies. I can literally hear outside right now the backup sound from the trucks that are coming in. They're just loading supplies. So that's super cool. We've been a hub for donations, which is awesome to be able to give out. But a lot of the people have lost their cars, which means they don't have access to be able to get to us. So we're really encouraging people to take these boxes. A lot of them are pre-made, kind of just a box that has a little of everything you would need, and take one, and then also take one for a family in need. But our goal is, we just purchased that. It should be done within 10 days. And we're going to start taking that out to these heavily hit spots. And we are going to feed free meals and bring supplies to the people that can't get to us.
Wow. I love that. So boots on the ground, just rally people, do the thing you can. And it's amazing to me how often in moments like this, food is the answer, right? Like it just communicates something. Like there's something about a meal, even if we can't fix your whole house, like, man, we can feed you this in this one moment right now. And I don't know, that just says something.
I think it's just showing up too, we're just showing up and being what we can be in the moment. So.
Right. Okay. So does that mean you've been helping prep meals and stuff?
Oh yeah. We're doing lots of hats.
Okay. So what do you make if you're going to feed 300 people a day?
We've had hot dogs, we've had chicken sandwiches, we've had burgers, we've had cheese with it. Just it's different every day. We have a
Yeah, somebody's got to be the lunch lady, right?
we have a chef already at our church, so
Perfect.
he's working double time.
No,
So,
this poor chef, Lord.
though his business, he was a printing. He works at a printing company with his brother, and all of their equipment's completely damaged. So right now, he can't go work there anyway. So he's here full on, just cooking and making meals for people.
Okay, so I would also assume that like FEMA is on the ground, and then people are like doing FEMA stuff, trying to get federal money to rebuild and whatnot as well.
Yeah, that's a long process, but yes, that is. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff going on with that, and Red Cross is here, and Convoy of Hope is here, and yeah,
Wow.
the thing about it is, so those are all like it's amazing the amount of people and support, and just the linemen. You should see it's just amazing,
Yeah.
of people coming in to help, but eventually those people will be gone and we will still be here because we're not going anywhere. We've been here for a long time and we are going to continue to be here and be the help that we can. So there's going to be a lot of people that never get their businesses back up and going. There's just, it's going to be a long-term effect. It's right now we're doing what we can do, but it's going to be a long years long process for people rebuild and get back into a space where they have their life and their business and their family back in order.
Tell me what it means to be a worship leader right now. You're making meals, but Sunday comes every 7 days, and we do what we do. What is that for you right now?
I mean, for me, it's life-giving. It's good for my soul. It's what gives me the energy to do the everyday other stuff, and just to be able to see people in the middle of turmoil and despair worshiping. It's no better job right now. So
Yeah,
it's just awesome.
So are people coming to church?
Oh yeah, we had probably I don't know, maybe 250 people Sunday number one, right after. No power. We have a big garage door. Our church is almost like a warehouse. We have a big garage door, and we threw that thing up, and there's no power, and we're just singing in the,
Singing in the dark.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What did you sing? Talk to me about what you sang on the first Sunday.
That was because we've had nobody has Wi-Fi, nobody has reception. You can barely get a text or a phone call from your house, and in my just naiveness, I was like, oh, it's fine. I'll just get to the church and get some chord charts. No, there's no Wi-Fi anywhere. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. And so I show up and we don't have access to planning center. We got no chord charts. We got nothing to be able to. So now we're like, who knows how to play? We got one acoustic. Who knows how to play this song? So some of it was a little of that. We did Raise a Hallelujah.
Yeah.
We did 10,000 Reasons, which was really good.
So were you guys just writing charts down? Did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Can somebody please make me a chart?
Yes. Yeah.
I love that. I always ask that question in these moments because stress, big moments, death, tragedy, any of those kinds of things, it brings us back to songs or worship moments that are home base, that are grounding, and that are fundamental. And I always ask that, like, what did you sing? What felt like was
We closed with a song that's an original Cape Vineyard here, called "Not Be Shaken." And the girl who wrote it with us is actually from the Miami Vineyard, Rebecca, and she wrote it after losing her dad and him being killed in a motorcycle accident. And that song was birthed after grief and tragedy, and and to sing "Not Be Shaken," in the middle of those are the songs that you want to sing,
Amen.
especially when it comes from somebody that has walked through that.
That's right.
And the other side.
Give me a few lyrics from that song.
The chorus is, "I will not be shaken. I will not be moved. The Lord God is with us. He is good."
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine singing that in your room with the garage door up and no power, an acoustic guitar, a couple hundred voices.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the kind of song that your church already knew? It was kind of like in your rotation?
For sure.
That's great. Listen, that's why we write songs for our local churches.
Yeah.
Yeah. What a beautiful story. Okay.
Actually,
well, let me take
Charles and I, Pastor Charles, side note, we're driving to Miami yesterday to go get this food truck. And that's what we were doing. We were writing songs on the way. We had a 2.5 hour trip there, 2.5 back. We were writing songs on the way because there's going to be songs that we're going to sing that our church is going to need to sing in these times that are just going to really resonate with our people. So,
well, Kelly, what did you write yesterday?
No, it's not complete.
That's okay. What was the theme? Give me the theme.
So, Phil Strout actually called my dad right after the storm, and he gave him a word about honey out of the lion's carcass. So we're kind of really diving into that. We're going to have that, it's what's sweeter than honey on our food truck. And we're just going to kind of really wrap our arms around that right now. And so, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be the kind of the theme of it.
That's great. Shout out to Phil Strout.
Yes.
High five, Phil. Okay, let me take you back to a moment a couple of weeks ago. We were at the Black Mountain Retreat, and it was the first night. It was the only night I could be there, and that was when the storm was hitting your area, and you guys happened to be up in Carolina with me, which really shocked me. And anyway, we just felt like we were supposed to pray for you, and I handed you the microphone. I said, "Hey, is there anything you want to say?" And you just said some really, I thought, profound stuff. I was really moved by it. And this is just me like paraphrasing right now. But you said something like this. You talked a little bit about how often people come to church and they're going through all kinds of stuff. Maybe stuff that we don't even know. And as worship leaders, we call them to worship. And then you said this was your chance to worship through the storm. You said something like that. This is what I heard anyway, right? And it landed on me, and I know it landed on a lot of other people. It landed on Melissa, landed on a lot of us. Tell me what you've learned a couple weeks into this, worshiping after the storm.
As worship leaders, we're called to lead people into worship, and it's easy when everything's going good, and you're singing the joyful, songs, and, but every week, even if we don't know, there's people in the room that are going through their own storms, cancer and death and loss of loved ones, loss of jobs, all kinds of things like that, you just don't know where people are at. And we're asking them to put that aside and to put their eyes on Jesus. And I just feel like it's something that we got to be able to walk that out ourselves and be up there in the middle of the storm and put our hope and our trust in Jesus, especially when we're asking people, we have the life storms don't stop for people here. There's a 15-year-old girl in our church who has been lost her mom and been very suicidal. And she started coming back to church. She stood for Jesus not that long ago, and then she evacuated with her family and tried to kill herself again and is in the hospital up in, and those things don't stop just because there's a storm. That, there's still those hard life struggles. So, but That's every week, whether there's a physical storm or not, whether there's a natural disaster or not, that those things happen. So just being able to not only encourage other people, but really for ourselves as well.
Yeah. Even while you're saying that, it occurs to me, I can't get away from this thought that who you are as a person, Kelly, and like who you are as a worship leader, it's just going to get deeper through all of this. These kinds of experiences change you, and it's going to make you deeper and wider, and you'll carry something after this that you never carried before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, talk to me about this. Talk to me about what songs are resonating with you and maybe your people right now.
Yeah, I'd say Firm Foundation is a big one. The bridge is rain came, wind blew, but my house is built on you. People are loving that right now. That's just speaking to big time.
Yeah.
I told you about the honey. So this week for sure we're doing Holy and Anointed One.
Yeah.
Good.
That's great. How do you approach a Sunday in a season like this? What are your thoughts when you head to Sunday?
Well, there's several practical issues. First, whether someone's even available to be, what you're going to have is, last week we didn't know until Saturday night if we would have ability to use any of our instruments. So people were on standby. So, and then just kind of going through the week, asking God to speak to me and show me moments, and that I take into my quiet time when I'm prepping and just, have his direction. And there's not a lot of planning as far as we're just busy, we're busy and, we're doing 12-hour days. So, part of it is what can we do a good job at, what's going to speak to people and what's God putting on my heart. And that's,
I love that. I know that this has been a difficult few weeks, but have there been any beautiful moments? Because I know a lot of times these things get mingled together. Sometimes in the most difficult places, something really amazing pops through. And so I'm interested, has anything kind of significant popped through in the midst of the trial?
Yeah, there's been a few that I can think of offhand. The one first Sunday, no power. We did a call to Christ at the end. And two ladies stood, which was awesome. And then my dad was like, I feel like there's one more, and a little boy named Ian stood, and a fifth grade boy. And you just had to be in the room to just, it's just awesome.
Yeah, of course, the hurricane was named Ian, right? So I'm sure it just hit that room like a ton of bricks.
Yes.
Wow.
My dad was like, "Don't mess with me, son. Don't mess with me."
That's so wild.
And he was a Spanish boy, and he said, "Well, how do you say your name in Spanish?" And the little boy's like, "Ian."
Too good. Yeah. Too good.
So that moment was just amazing, to out of the destruction and the despair, God is still going to be doing what God does best. And so that was awesome. And then right now we have a team going out to Pine Island. One of the members in our church lost everything, and they lived in a mobile home, and we are out there kind of taking that as our mission spot right now. And we have construction guys out there, and we are demoing and rebuilding their home right now. So it's, we're putting our focus on rebuilding and helping people. And those people right now are super connected on Pine Island. And I really feel like my parents feel like we're going to probably start a satellite church out there eventually, and that, they're going to be able, he's a former vineyard pastor himself anyway. So these things are, new life is going to come from this kind of stuff.
Wow. I love that. Well, hey, let's just wrap here, but why don't you tell us, Is there a way for us vineyard people to reach out to you guys in South Florida? Like, what would people like if people were like, I want to help. Like, do we just send you guys some money? Do we need to fly our construction guys down? Like, tell me what would be the right thing, Kelly.
Yeah, we're just now getting to a spot. I mean, none of us have had power. There's been my family as well as a whole other family plus their dog and their cat with my fire. It's just been what it is. People are living with houses together, just making things work. But people are just now, I think most of the city has now got power in Cape Coral. That's going to be way out for Sanibel, Pine Island. And really, you can't get there so much right now. It's very difficult. Just even yesterday night or last night, they opened the bridge to Sanibel to bring the power trucks on that island, and they need to go clear that and all, so it's going to be a little while. I know there is a church coming Sunday that's coming to do some construction work with us on Pine Island. One of the other vineyards from Florida is coming over. So that's really awesome. But we're just now getting to a space where if people wanted to come, we can kind of manage that. But yeah, on our website, Cape Vineyard, it's costing us roughly about $1,000 a day to feed people. So,
that's perfect. That's perfect. Yeah. I think that's a real number. That's perfect.
Yeah. So yeah, capevineyard.com. There's a Hurricane Ian link on there. And if you want to donate, we will make sure it gets put to good use.
That's great. That's wonderful. A lot of us churches could pay for a couple days. So that's
yeah.
Well, Kelly, hey, thanks for jumping on here and talking to us. Really, really impressed with you and your church and your people and just the way that God is using you all to serve your city and the area around you.
Thanks, Adam. Thanks for thinking and getting a little spotlight on the Cape Vineyard.
Man, we got to do it.
Appreciate it.
We got to do it. Okay. Hey, listen, let's talk soon. But thanks for chatting me today. Okay.
Sounds good.
Hey everyone, Casey Coram here, producer of the podcast. Thanks for listening. As always, if you've been enjoying the podcast, here's a few ways you can help us. First of all, leave us a review on the podcast platform of your choice. This helps more people find us. Also, connect with us on social media. Instagram at the Ferment Podcast and Twitter at FermentCast. All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. See you next week. Peace.